So today I would like to talk about a project which is a fully ongoing project and a very recent one. We started to deal with it when the pandemic broke out, and we were thinking of making a research on online anti-Semitism connected to the coronavirus pandemic. We started that project, so it's a very recent one and a very new one, and it's still ongoing. So this is really the first results, and this is the first time we are presenting some of our results about this research. Our methodology is, as it was mentioned, using natural language processing. And why we are using natural language processing is because we analyze a huge amount of textual, unstructured textual data. And this corpus, what we are using, is consisting Hungarian online articles and comments. And we will talk about it later, how we scraped the internet and what kind of keywords we were using to reach this corpus. Basically, we had two research questions. The first one is, did the coronavirus-related anti-Semitic discourses appear in the Hungarian online space? Unfortunately, we all learned very early on that this kind of anti-Semitism was prevailing in the world. But we were interested in whether it appeared in the Hungarian context. And our other question was whether, if it appeared, what was its content. Our corpus, as I already mentioned, Hungarian. So our online articles, comments, and posts in Hungarian. And the time frame is from the 1st of December, 2019, till the 10th of July, 2020. And we are in cooperation with Sentiban, a social listening company, and we are using their program to scrape the internet using different kind of keywords and so on. Basically, we defined the 4 sub-corpora, and the definition was by document types and search words. The next slide shows these sub-corpora. So the first sub-corpora contained posts and comments where the coronavirus and the word Jew appeared in any form together. So, for example, we put a search expression example here, down here. It is in Hungarian, but it's quite easy to look at it and understand it. So, corona is corona, the virus is virus, and Žido is Jew. And this little asterisk shows that we search for all words which starts with corona, or starts with virus, or starts with Žido. Okay, and we used all different types or different forms of the virus, like Wuhan or SARS or whatever. So this first sub-corpus was posts and comments using these search words. The second sub-corpus was the same search words, but contained only articles. With the Sentiban tool, we can differentiate between them. So we can select the different types, content types. And we separated another search word expression where instead of Jew, we used Zion/Israel. And I put Zion because we used Zion in Hungarian, Zion, and an asterisk. So we were searching for everything or anything which contained Zion and Zionism, Zionists, or whatever, and also Israel and the coronavirus in any form. And here we also had two subcorpus, one for the posts and comments, and the other for the articles. Why we created these subcorpus? First of all, from our previous researches, it was clear, and of course, even without any research, it can be clear that posts and comments and articles are very, very different. So you cannot analyze them together because they have so different characteristics. Just one thing is that the posts and comments are much shorter on the average than the articles. And it makes the model work not in the way what we want. But there are also other characteristics which are important. And the other thing why we differentiated between Jew and Zion Israel, because we really think that this is a very separate type of corpus, and we wanted to first analyze them separately. And as far as as we see, it is really, really very different. So what are the challenges of Hungarian natural language processing? So the first problem with Hungarian is that this is an agglutinative language. So we have a lot of suffixes, prefixes, circumfixes, which can change both the meaning of the word and the grammatical function. So we have a huge amount of inflectional forms, and one word root can have very different forms, and it's very, very hard to detect. So it's not like English that, for example, you have a verb and the only thing is that something comes at the end. Okay, there are some exceptions, but mostly. But as in German, it changes the whole the word changes. And also the problem is that these suffixes and prefixes and all the other stuff is not just come at the end of the word, but many times even the word root changes. So it is quite hard to work with Hungarian. And plus, we have very much less advanced tools and softwares for Hungarian. So we are really in the process of making our own tools. So for example, for the preprocessing and all the other stuff, Árpád is the expert from our group who developed all the things we are using now. And therefore, quite a lot of manual cleaning is also needed. I don't want to talk a lot about this preprocessing. The only thing which I would like to show is that unfortunately, natural language processing is not working in a way that you have the corpus and then you put it into a box and then the model comes out. There are a lot of pre-processing steps which we have to make. So for example, we delete the URLs from the corpus. We lemmatize, which means that we remove all the inflectional forms. But as I said, this is not as easy as, for example, in English. We would like to identify the names. So for example, when there is Orbán and Viktor, we wouldn't like to have these two words separately, but we want the program to treat it as one word, or for example, George Soros or whatever. We also would like to put together words which are very frequently used together and has a separate meaning. And also we are defining some stop words, so we don't want to include words like basically or actually, or these kind of words which has no real meaning. And also we would like to standardize even more than we could before. So that's why we are using replaced lists, and for example, where is a problem with the name and named entity recognition, then we make some corrections with the replaced lists. And also we are filtering out some of the words based on length and frequency. So for example, we are filtering also out, as I will talk about it later, comments which are too short, less than 5 words, and so on. So we have a lot of pre-processing to do. So here, this slide is about the number of documents falling into the different sub-corpus. So you can see that there is quite a huge difference between the raw number of documents falling into one category and the pre-processed one. So for example, in the first sub-corpus, when we scraped the internet, we had almost 32,000 raw documents. And after the pre-processing, we had a little more than 11,000. In the case of posts and comments, the main reason why we have much less in the pre-processed corpus is that, as I said, we are deleting those. We are not dealing with those which are shorter than 5 words, because you cannot really detect the meaning of such a short messages. And in the case of the articles, here we made a step which we found important, that we realized that in the case of the posts, and I will talk about the domains, in the case of the posts, there can be even those domains like liberal news outlets and Facebook pages of liberal or left-wing websites where you can find anti-Semitic content. I will talk about it later why. But in the case of articles, there are several news outlets which where it is absolutely so it cannot happen that there is an anti-Semitic content. So we deleted those, we excluded those websites. The other one is the duplicated content. So the Hungarian media system, unfortunately, is very centralized and overwhelmingly ruled by the government. And the government collected approximately 500 news outlets and its newspapers, online websites, radio channels, and so on, and put them into a big organization. And how propaganda works in Hungary is that they are having, for example, the newspapers as all county newspapers, which are quite important here in Hungary. So it has a long tradition. And for example, they have one article and then it comes out in all 19 county newspapers. So we have to deal with these duplicates. It's a separate and very interesting issue. So now I would like to talk only about the first sub-corpus, which again is the posts and comments containing coronavirus and Jew in any form. And it is also important that we are searching also for the context. So it means that if there is an article where these words appear, then the comments connected to this article is also scraped. So we have more than 11,000 documents. For the analysis, we used a tool called topic models. We called it, this is just for those who already know this. It's not important, but we use the LDA mallet model. And what is important with LDA, this latent Dirichlet allocation, is that this detects the co-occurrence of words. And the concept of LDA is that a certain topic can be characterized by the words associated with this topic. And a document is related to a certain topic where it's more likely to contain the words that are related to this given topic. So what we would like to do, this is the original aim of topic model, that we would like to identify the topics, the latent thematic structure of a corpus. However, in this research, we used topic models for two separate reasons. So first, the problem with these search words is that a lot of contents can come down from the internet using these search words, which has no anti-Semitic content whatsoever. So we wanted to use the topic models for filtering out our corpus. So try to make quite bigger number of topics and detect that which are the topics which are important for us, which are interesting for us. And there is two ways. So we can say that all topics which contain anti-Semitism is interesting for us, or more those are interesting for us which contain coronavirus related anti-Semitism. We use the later approach. And then when we had this filtered corpus, this selected corpus, then we used to identify the thematic structure. So then we could start analyzing that what is the content of this coronavirus related anti-Semitism. So for the filtering, first we had to define that how many topics would be good to extract. This is not a very easy question, so it's not a clear-cut answer for that. And we are using different measurement tools, and we are using also many times we are using interpretation. So how interpretative or how easily can be interpreted these topics. And one of the measurement which can be used is called coherence score. And here you can see the coherence score. And of course, I would like to draw your attention that it's not starting from 0. So these differences are not huge at all. Usually there are not much difference, not so much difference. However, it is very interesting that the more topic we have, in tendency, the coherence score is decreasing. What the coherence score means? The coherence score means that it's a kind of measurement for the interpretability of the model, that how coherent are in their content the different topics. So we used this extraction, 26 topics. So we started with 26 topics, and we wanted to select from these 26 topics those which are interesting for us. So those which contain quite a lot of comments and posts, which is anti-Semitism connected to the coronavirus. how we selected this, these topics. We made something which called annotation. So we were working, and we are still working together with BA students from our sociology BA. And I saw that some of them were on the list who are participating. I hope that some of them are here. We are very proud of them. They are making a fantastic job with us. And they are the ones who are annotating the different posts. Approximately 30 to 35% of all posts are or comments in a given topic is annotated, and sometimes it goes up to 40%. It really depends on for example, that how big is the topic. So, for example, we are annotating at least 100 documents, 100 posts in each topic. What does it mean to annotate? It means that they are using search words to help their job, but mostly they read through the posts, and they are coding these posts. So they give a 1 when it contains coronavirus-related anti-Semitism, and they give 2 when it is just, in a quotation mark, anti-Semitism. So what we do, we have the documents in the given topics. We rank these documents in a descending order by the topic percent contribution. What does it mean? It means that those documents will be in the beginning, which are the most representative of the topic, and those will be in the last, which are the less representative. Why are we analyzing both from the beginning and the end? It is because that, for example, those comments and posts which are longer, they tend to be on the top. It doesn't mean that they are those only which can contain coronavirus-related anti-Semitism or anti-Semitism, but because of their lengths, they tend to be at the top. So that's why we halve the number of annotated posts and comments, and then half of them is from the beginning and half of them from the end. So when we're done with the with all the topics, we put it to a chart, and this chart shows that how many percent of the given topic, how many percent of those comments and posts which were annotated, how many percent of them were coded to 1, so which means that it contained coronavirus-related anti-Semitism, and how many percent was coded to containing anti-Semitism. So what we can see here, for example, the topic 6, all the comments and posts which were annotated, 11% of them contained coronavirus-related anti-Semitism, and 41% contained anti-Semitism. This last topic, this is a very, very small topic, so that's why this is a little strange, these numbers. But what is striking is that even that topic which contained the least anti-Semitic content, let it be just anti-Semitic or coronavirus-related anti-Semitism, still contained 25% of the annotated ones were anti-Semitic. So the word Jew is frequently used in an anti-Semitic content. And it's very important the domains were not filtered. So we selected those topics, the 6, the 14s, the 11s, and the 0. It's just a technical thing that it starts from 0, which contained more than 10% of the annotated comments were coronavirus-related anti-Semitism. And also, we had this selected corpus, these selected topics, and then we added those which were annotated as 1 in any of the topics. So the total number of posts and comments in the selected corpus was more than 2,700. Then we again had to run a topic model and had to define that how many topics can be or should be extracted from the selected corpus. And what we normally do is that we try several topic numbers. So here is 2 topic, 3 topic, and so on. And we try each of them 10 times, and we look at the average. So here, this is in this coloring, you can see that the more green is the higher number, and the more red or reddish is the lower number. So what you can see here is that the 8th run for the number topic number 6 was the best, and it really shows that this was a selected corpus. So normally it is much more than that, the topic number which is suitable for having a good model, because in that case there are a lot of topics which already taken out in a way we are not interested in, but we did it beforehand, so we have this number of topic. Now I get back to the to what I mentioned earlier, that which were the main domains where we had the corpus, the selected corpus. First, the kurz.info, which is a right-wing news portal. It was founded in 2006 and is still one of the most popular right-wing news portals in Hungary. And if you look at the sub-pages of this portal, you can see names like anti-Hungarism, Holocaust, Gypsy crime, Jewish crime. So you can guess that it really harbors very strong anti-Semitic and anti-Romani content. The second one, it is in a way more interesting, is pro-government media, but the most radical and ferocious pro-government and pro-Fidesz outlets. If you look at the media landscape of Hungary and the politics, the media politics of Fidesz, you can see that it is really trying to talk to the far right. In very many cases, it's even having the mainstream, very far right messages and propaganda and so on. But also it really tries to take the electorates from the far right. So there is a part of the pro-government media which is even more radical than the mainstream. The next one is the Facebook. Of course, it is very important that from Facebook you can analyze only those posts and comments and content which is publicly available. Many times, because the news outlets would be responsible for the comments, and they should moderate the content on their own pages. So that's why they are, a lot of them restricted these forums, or even put it to Facebook. So these are Facebook pages, publicly available Facebook pages of the biggest Hungarian news portals. And there is a part which comes from the left-wing and liberal media, as I mentioned, and there's two type. One is irony, we will see that, and the other is right-wing and radical trolls, which are who are spreading anti-Semitic content. So now I would like to talk about the topics. So the 6 topics. Here I also put up the keywords. So what are the main keywords? It's really just for a little orientation, but we are digging deep into the content. So we never interpret a topic just by the keywords, but we are reading these content, unfortunately, and we are using qualitative tools to analyze that. And I also put the relative size, so you will also see that. So this first topic is a very purely coronavirus related anti-Semitic topic. So it says that the coronavirus epidemic is a part of a global plan carried out by Jews, of course. That the Democrats are building a new order. So this is kind of connected, this QAnon conspiracy in a way. And of course, this new order is supported by Soros and Rothschilds. And they are using the coronavirus pandemic to overthrow Trump. This very common conspiracy that the Federal Reserve is in the hands of the Jews, it comes up very many times in this topic. And for example, this is a quotation: the couple of usual families who are in the background are making a few $1,000 billion in US dollars, of course, with the coronavirus. The second topic is practically anti-Semitism in any content, so and in any context. So it's anti-Semitism connected to the mayors from the opposition parties in the last municipality elections. There are some mayors from the opposition who won, especially in Budapest, using words like Budapest, Jewish mayor, international Jewish racial mafia, and so on. But also anti-Semitism connected to the government, connected to Brussels. And there are some critical posts about these actors without any anti-Semitic content. The third one is, it's a very interesting topic because it contains the most absurd anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. So it's really like content. It's hard to translate into English because it has no meaning whatsoever. So like word dictatorship, Jews already have the vaccine. There is a vaccine. They will make the vaccine compulsory, and they will put nanochips into the brains. And of course, the Jews are doing all this stuff. The Jews as portrayed as alien human hybrids. So really like unimaginable, chaotic, but very, very strongly anti-Semitic content. And on the other hand, the model put here ironic comments from the other side, and this is this strong irony. For example, I put here an example. Dear Hungarian compatriots, as it is spread by fake news media 444 and the Index, this is two liberal media outlet. Our country is once again in great danger, namely the coronavirus developed by Jews and spread by migrants. So this kind of irony. The fourth topic is again very strongly connected to the coronavirus, and it mainly contains that Jews are blaming China for the coronavirus, although the Jews are behind the pandemic. The Jews manufacture the virus because Jews and Israel are the rivals of China, or Jews, Zionists, Israel and the US have common interests, so they are doing this together. The US manufactured the virus, but of course the US is completely under Jewish rule, so they are using this word Jusa, and also in Hungary they use it Zsidó USA, so they translated it. The coronavirus is the biological weapon of Israel against China. And also the conspiracy theories or conspiracies connected to Dr. Charles Lieber. He was the scientist who was arrested because saying that he had no connection to the Wuhan Technological University, and then instantly it broke out that he is the one who developed the whole coronavirus. The fifth and the sixth topic. The fifth topic is, and you can see also from the keywords, this is obscene and vulgar content, where Jew and the word gypsy is used as swear word. So it's very interesting, of course, it's not as said, but interesting, that when this obscene and vulgar content comes up, then the word gypsy appears. And in this topic, most of the contents is not connected to the coronavirus. And the sixth topic is very mixed content and really not really a coherent topic. It's not really interesting for us. You can also see it from the keywords. And last, I would like to conclude that the annotation proved to be a very useful tool for filtering. These topics, on the one hand, it was very telling that we could really extract a small number of topics which were very concentrated on the topic we were making the research on. They were very easily interpretable. So it was really very good to have this selected corpus and then make the real topic model on this selected corpus. Yes, we can, unfortunately, we can answer the question. There is anti-Semitic content connected to the coronavirus in Hungary in the online discourse. And what is interesting is mostly international topics. So that's why we can really see what we know, of course, that these conspiracy theories are spread all over the world. And of course, it reached Hungary as well. So we have a lot of future plans. Of course, we are in the analysis of the other sub topics, and then we will use topic models to make other models and see if, for example, those topics which contain the Jew and the virus, and those which contain Israel and Zion are different or not. We are also would like to see, for example, that different types of people who comments this kind of content, what are the characteristics of this users and so on. So thank you very much for your attention, and of course you are welcome to visit our website. You can see here the address. So thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the presentation. I think first we should answer or talk about questions regarding your presentation. Are there any questions? Something was misunderstood. I see two hands. Günther Yikeli, maybe start first.
Okay, well, thank you. I mean, that was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much, and also for sharing like your methods of it. I don't want to take much time, but I have two questions. One is, you were talking about these international connections. So did you find links to, like, probably then mostly English posts, or did you have a method, or did your method not allow to look at these international connections? And then we have gone through annotation as well, then so manual annotation, and we found a lot of so we're working mostly with Twitter, a lot of tweets then call out anti-Semitic tweets. So that's also a huge percentage. How much of this did you find when you went over these tweets of this calling out, saying, oh, this is anti-Semitic, and then posting something that they say then this is anti-Semitic, and kind of trying to have a counter narrative there?
Yeah. Am I okay now? Yes. Okay, sorry. So thank you very much for the question, Günther, and I saw your project, so I looked through all the materials. Yes, we also detected counter narratives, and that's, for example, the next step later on, to be able to use, because in Hungarian we don't have any detection of anti-Semitic hate speech. So, for example, we would like to use this annotation to be able to differentiate between, for example, this calling out and also irony, which is even more, even harder. And for example, we are working with these BA students, is that they are annotating, and then we look through what they do, and then we tell them where we changed the annotation, and then we talk it through again. So we really try to be very precise on that. But what I can say now is that we already detected these kind of things, but it is a later step to really use this information for example, detection and so on. And the other question
was about the international connections.
Yeah.
If in your corpus.
Yeah. How we can detect it is, first of all, this is in a discursive space. So we see that this is the same discourses, of course, but the next step, and also this is a future plan, to use these links which are in the comments and in the posts, and try to use them and make a kind of network of how these different media outlets are connected.
Thanks a lot. There was also Stephen who raised his hand.
Yes, okay. Fascinating talk and extraordinarily sophisticated methodology. But I have just two questions. One, firstly, concerning the definition, your understanding of anti-Semitism, because it seems to me that the quantity and the range of so-called anti-Semitic material must be connected to your understanding, your definition of anti-Semitism. And I know that in some of your publications, such as the 2017 report on anti-Semitism in the Visegrád countries, you refer to new anti-Semitism, criticism of Israel. You yourself in your presentation now, I think suggested that you include critical references to Israel. Well, I went in November last year with a group, all Jews, organized by Yakad, London-based liberal-leaning Jewish NGO. They took us on a tour of the occupied territories. It's hard to come back from Hebron. It's hard to come back from Israeli military courts in the West Bank without being somewhat critical of the standards of law and morality being applied there. And I say that as someone who is not anti-Zionist, but nevertheless strongly critical of Israel. So my first question is how you define anti-Semitism, and if you include new anti-Semitism, criticism of Israel, I think it becomes harder and harder to distinguish the genuine anti-Semitism from something which may be perfectly legitimate criticism of policies that are blatantly in contravention of international humanitarian law. My other query concerns the, well, perhaps your premise. Is it surprising that there should be a lot of anti-Semitic comments on the internet and in other places linking coronavirus to Jews? Because I'm quoting here from your 2017 text, which I found very illuminating, very good summary of anti-Semitism in Hungary. I mean, you say there at page 54 that in 2015, according to recent findings, 12% of the Hungarian population were moderately anti-Semitic, 23% were extremely anti-Semitic. So isn't it in fact, I'm not saying normal, but to be expected at least, that Hungarian anti-Semitism, which is hardly new and hardly moderate, should make use of, should weaponize the coronavirus. But I've talked too long.
Thank you very much for the questions. Very, very important questions. The first one, defining anti-Semitism, and of course the most problematic part is new anti-Semitism. Fortunately,
the question as to whether it is anti-Semitism.
Yes. Fortunately, up till now, we are in a position connected to the coronavirus that it's very easy to detect that this is anti-Semitism or not, because in this case Israel is not portrayed as it's, you know, in the case of classical new anti-Semitism. So whether we criticize Israel, it is anti-Semitic or not, but it is connected to a conspiracy theory that Israel is behind the virus. So it's quite easy, but of course this is a very hard question, and I think we are all searching the answer for that. However, for example, we are carrying out this research project, and we did online focus group research on the three types, so conspiratorial, secondary, and new anti-Semitism, and it really came out even from the online focus groups, which are not representative of course, is that even in Hungary, new anti-Semitism, which were said to be not even existing in a way, it is used to express anti-Semitism, covering by anti-Zionism or whatever. But here we have an easier task in a way, because what I said. The second question Could you just remind me with the word?
Well, it's just that, as you pointed out in your 2017 text.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. So I have to confess, our research question is a naive question. Okay. So yes, I was sure that we will find this content. However, I was very interested that how many of these are present, and although this type of methodology is not used, we cannot use it for giving percentages, but still, I would say it was more prevailing than what I expected. But of course, anti-Semitic content, I expected it, and why I was, you know, quite stunned or a little surprised is that, as I said, how we could see that this is really a kind of a network of discourse, and when we look at the time, how it evolved, it was present even from the very beginning. So in Hungary, the whole coronavirus pandemic started in the middle of March, and it was already here. So that was a little surprising.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Any other questions? Is there someone? There's one question that someone posted in the chat. The person is asking if you noticed any anti-feminist content in combination with anti-Semitic content in your research.
Excuse me, could you be, Zsínyak was posting something and I was reading, I'm sorry.
I see. Someone in the chat asked if you noticed any anti-feminist content in combination with anti-Semitic content.
No. Thank you for that question.
Another question, a bit more broad, maybe you can say something about that. Also in the chat, someone asked if you can say anything about distinctions between online anti-Semitism in Hungary and other places during the pandemic.
I really couldn't. So I think that was the most striking. What I said, that how I don't want to repeat myself again and use the time, but how these topics which we knew from the world instantly were present in the Hungarian discourse.
Thanks a lot. I see Spinnik raised his hand and Günther maybe after.
Hello, Ildikó. Thank you very much for this very interesting talk, and I can imagine this must have been very long, time-consuming task to deal with all these thousands and thousands of texts. So thank you very much again. My question is, I have two questions. The first one is the context in which the anti-Semitic expressions relating to coronavirus appeared. What do I mean by that? Did you find those anti-Semitic posts which were linking coronavirus to the Jews? Did you find them only under or in the context of articles, newspapers articles, for example, that talked about the coronavirus, or was it that these comments appeared basically under any kind of article, that under any kind of article there was somebody who completely out of context suddenly raised some kind of conspiracy theory about Jews and coronavirus? That's my first question. And the second question is, have you seen these anti-Semitic posts and expressions, again linking coronavirus to the Jews, in connection to the coverage of coronavirus in Israel? I mean, for example, coverage about the issues the coronavirus caused in the Haredi communities in Israel. It spread in the ultra-Orthodox communities in Israel. Where there's comments like that, coverage like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Virginia, for the questions. So the first question is my first answer is really an impression rather, because this is also a very good question, but we couldn't go into depth yet on that. But the impression, having read very many comments and also looking at the context, it depends on the domain. So in the far right scene, this coronavirus-related anti-Semitism can come up in any context. In others, which are not this very far right scene, there is more connected to a content. Okay, so that's the first question. The second one, I think we will. Yes, there was anti-Semitism connected to news from Israel, but it wasn't in this sub-corpus. It happened, but it wasn't prevailing. So I think we will find more those in the other sub-corpora, where we will use Zion and Israel as a search word.
Thanks a lot. Is there... Günther, right.
Yeah, sorry that I asked a second question, but it's really fascinating. So I'm not sure if I understood these four topics that you presented. Are they from articles and posts together, or is that only articles? And also, are they from these Jews and Israel together, or is that only for one specific? So I'm not sure.
Yeah. What I presented today, it is only the first sub-corpus. Okay. Which is the search word Jew and coronavirus in any form, in any kind of form, and only posts and comments. Okay, so this was the 6 topics which I presented today is only for these sub-corpus.
I know that there's so much work in every detail, so it will take a lot of time also to compare these, but this will be
exactly.
Okay, thank you. And the question I have about the corpus. So how do you deal with deleted posts? Do you check if they're deleted? If when you annotate them, do you go online, or do you just, how do you deal with that, with deleted posts? And the other one, I think I know the answer, but do you have a way of comparing your corpus, or how you get it, like the keywords Jews and coronavirus, in relation to coronavirus posts, like to put it into, to get some idea how much of talk about coronavirus is then anti-Semitic, or is has these topics?
So for the first, let's start with the second one. We haven't done that, but I really think that compared to the whole coronavirus, so compared to anything which contains coronavirus, anti-Semitism is not huge. Okay, there are a lot more said about that. But I wouldn't say that it is not And of course, I think you don't think that is not important. But compared to the whole coronavirus corpus, I wouldn't say that it's very much. And the first question, could you remind me? Sorry, I haven't.
Yeah,
I
what
don't
to
have
do
my
with the deleted posts?
deleted posts. Yeah.
Maybe
So
that's
what?
not an issue in Hungarian because there are not so many deleted. I mean, maybe Facebook and Twitter, they don't crack down on this.
So what we did is that when they annotated it, if the context is not clear, so we don't know it, then we go back to the original. However, it can happen that we don't find the original, for example, because it was deleted. Then we don't annotate it as anti-Semitic. Okay, so we always make it in favor of the other side in a way. So say that it's not, if we are not sure that it's anti-Semitic, we are annotating not anti-Semitic.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So Spinning has another question.
Thank you. One more question, please. First, have you found any significant connection to anti-vaccination discourse?
Yes.
I was surprised that the word vaccine did not, if I may finish, did not appear in those list of code words. So that's the first. And the second, the name Bill Gates, did it appear in the contents in the corpus you found? I'm asking that because this is something I encounter a lot in the Czech discourse. The accusations against Bill Gates that he is somehow spreading coronavirus in order to sell his new vaccine and things like that.
Yes, Bill Gates appears, and of course he appears as a Jew, but not a lot. I have to tell you, not a lot. Mm-hmm. And the anti-vaccination, not in a way that it's anti-vaccination, but in a way that the Jews will make this vaccination compulsory. And for example, they will put chip into our heads, or they will make a lot of money by selling the vaccine, that the Jews already have the vaccine. And the Jew can be the USA, can be Israel, can be whatever. So in this sense, this vaccination combines with anti-Semitism.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Also now running out of time. Someone is writing in the chat. Should alarms be rung worldwide that human beings continue to believe in a conspiracy that demonizes Jews and sees them as responsible for COVID-19 and, for that matter, other world afflictions?
Yeah, it's very, very hard to answer, and yes, of course, it's it's a way that knowing the world and knowing how it works, and knowing how much anti-Semitism is out in the world, as Stephen said, we cannot be surprised, unfortunately.
Thanks a lot. I think we're coming to an end, but our next speaker, Günther, is already here. He will present in a month, roughly. Maybe you can say 2 sentences what you're going to talk about, because I think it will be really interesting for the people who are with us today.
Yeah, no worries. I won't give a talk now. I will try to follow up on this very fascinating presentation that we just heard now, and just present what we have done so far, and will be much more work in progress than what you have done. You are much farther in the process, so it's great what you're doing. I'm really looking forward to learn more of your work. So I will be talking about our approach mostly on Twitter to how to, what we think, we're trying to put it in perspective of contexts, saying, okay, what are discussions in general on Twitter about Jews, about Israel? So we then have, we have a partnership with the university here. There's another much larger project that looks at social media posts, and including Twitter, and they have a contract with Twitter that they get 10% of all tweets. So we get a kind of representative database that makes a huge difference. So we can make these kind of estimation of how prominent are certain topics, which is only a minority, of course, and that's great, but still it has a big impact. So I would not belittle it if we'd only find a few % of the overall COVID discussions being anti-Semitic. So yeah, I will present our methods and how we go about it, first results that we have been doing. And it's a huge work. We're also happy to work with students, graduate and undergraduate students together. Otherwise, it would just not be possible to do that. Well, thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank you very much for coming. All of you, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks a lot again, Ildikó. Thanks a lot, Árpád, for your presentation and your insights. This is it for today. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.